Chop for chop?
I'm sorry?
Chop for chop?
Chop for chop.
Yes. Good job.
Hello everybody and welcome to Chop and Brew. I am Chip Walton. In this episode we are going way back in the Wayback Machine. 10 years in fact to 2014 National Homebrewers Conference in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I recently uncovered this footage and it seems very timely time to drop it considering everything that's going on with NHC / HomebrewCon and the end of an era as it seems, and coming across this video was like time in a bottle being uncorked for me to drink, enjoy, and now share with you. If you remember, back in 2014, Chop and Brew was very new, just a couple of years into that YouTube video game, and I hit the scene there in Grand Rapids with our good friend Ted Weidman, aka Ted Maximus, aka Dice Hop Ted, for those who know. In this club night montage, you're going to see some familiar faces from both Chop and Brew and the old Brewing TV days, plus a lot of just random, friendly homebrewers all over the place. You might even find yourself in some of this footage. I saw people in the backgrounds while editing this footage and I was like, I haven't seen or thought of that person in years, but I used to see him annually at the Homebrew Conference. This montage has a lot of fun times, goofy costumes, some classic nerding out where we actually do talk technical information about beer, plus Ted and Dawson talking about the finer points of mash temperatures when it comes to tub births. That's so ridiculous. Two quick things. If you want to get right to that club night montage, skip ahead a few minutes. I'm going to put the timestamp for it in the video description below. Following the montage, which is basically this episode, I'm going to take the liberty to kind of finish this beer and wax nostalgic about all things NHC, HomebrewCon, the importance of it to me as a homebrewer and as someone who was kind of thrust into it as part of getting this sweet gig at Northern Brewer back in the day, going from a homebrewer that never would have went probably to the conference to going to a lot of them all of a sudden. So I'm just going to kind of nerd out. I think some of you will appreciate it. It would probably make you think of times past when we were all conference goers annually. So I'll put the time codes for both of those things. But if you'll allow me just a quick moment of setup for the 2014 Club Night, you got to see some of this video of the Brewing Network part, including one of the best pieces of video I ever got with a camera in the homebrew nerd universe, which is John Palmer eating it while playing kickball. Wednesday night, pre-conference night. We're talking the Brewing Network anniversary party number 9. It was so epic and like just unique because it was held on a baseball field. Justin and the crew managed to line up a whole baseball field. Apparently this thing had burnt down just like 6 months prior to the ground and was rebuilt. So state-of-the-art kind of facilities. At the time it was called Fifth Third Ballpark. It is now called the LMCU. It's the home of the West Michigan Whitecaps baseball team. There was games of skills, as you can see. There was inflatable joust. There was cornhole. There was fast pitch. There was all kinds of fun, cool things. Really fun as the lights went down. We got to go from that Boys of Summer kind of vibe during the day to the London werewolves of Grand Rapids howling and hooting all over this ball field. The highlight might have been the dunking booth, where fans of the Brewing Network got to take their best shot, their best throws, trying to sink their homebrew heroes such as Justin Crosley, Jason Petros, JP, Bevo.
Did anybody else see the target?
All these fools ended up in the water. That would have been the highlight if it weren't for what went down during the drunken kickball games. Now they were having these kickball games going down on the actual diamond of this field. Just such a unique, cool experience. People just playing all the outfield positions, all the infield positions, and probably the best piece of video I've ever had. John Palmer, Mr. How to Brew, steps up to the plate, gives it a big, solid kick, beer glass in hand, and then this happens.
Palmer! Oh, John Palmer ate it! Oh, John Palmer just ate it, nigga. I tagged out.
you what, when I found this footage and was looking through it and was reminded of that, I laughed my ass off for a long time, and I could not wait to share that. That just brings us to the main thing I shot video of. At this point, through Brewing TV, I'd kind of gotten a reputation for my club night montages, I would say. So I knew once I got into chop and brew mode that was really the most important part. Like, yeah, how many times do you need to see a bunch of people in an expo looking at stainless steel? But the club night is where the magic happens. It's where the characters come out. It's where a lot of fun, quick lightning round tasting notes can happen. So without further ado, I dedicate this Chop and Brew Club Night NHC 2014 montage to all the brewers, past, present, hopefully many more in the future. But I hope you see yourself in here. If you see yourself in this video, please leave a comment below. Tell us where you are. Stick around for afterwards. I'm going to finish the rest of my delicious beer and just rap a little bit, chat a little bit, go down memory lane about all things Homebrewers Conference.
Welcome to Chop and Brew. I'm Ted Weidman. It's my first NHC. It's about to get real. Let's go. We're going to club night. I've heard this either makes or breaks a man. I guess we're about to find out.
This is some serious business. You got to get your credentials out. You got to keep it real. You got to get legit. Look at Ted over here. Ted getting sloppy. Getting sloppy with the credentials, kid. Aren't you Ted Weidman?
We have native Minnesotans. Hello, native Minnesotans.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Oh, I'm just getting ready for club night here. We didn't wear costumes though, so we're pretending to be homebrewers. Yeah. we're pretending to know what we were doing.
These are authentic costumes you have.
Yeah. Right? Yeah.
Picked these up at the local shop.
This is a bunch of religious people. Let's find out what they got going on.
We're oldest club in Northern Illinois.
Nice.
We obviously have a Belgian monk theme. So we've got 8 beers on tap on our barrels here, another one on the side, and a beer engine pouring another Belgian pale.
So question for you, what's your favorite part about brewing?
People. It's a great way to hang out with people with common interests and drink beer.
Okay, one more question. My name's Ted, what's your name?
Eileen.
Eileen?
Sister Eileen.
Sister Eileen, was that you that farted in the elevator?
It was not.
Okay, well, we have proof
We
now.
find out who did, they will be punished.
I'm drinking Berliner Weiss made by middle-aged men, apparently either dressed up as monks or as Captain Caveman. I'm not sure which one. Either way, it's pretty awesome. And there are also nuns here. Sort of sexy, sort of weird, and it's all great. I'll have none of that, if you know what I mean.
I don't know what this is all about. It's a bunch of particle board with Chicago Supply Company all over the place, and I'm scared. I've been into ice houses before that were creepy, but this is a whole new level. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Wow, what's the deal here?
Well, you know, we're trying to keep it on the DL and have some non-alcoholic beverages because it's prohibition and everything. But no, what we got going on is a Chicago Speakeasy, and everything's kind of coded for like sarsaparilla, cream soda, you know, whatever you want that's not going to violate any prohibition acts.
Have you ever been to the Eel Pop Festival in northern Minnesota?
I have not.
You should try.
I should try it. It would be fun. I think I've seen you guys though.
Maybe.
A few times.
At the Eel Pop Festival?
No, on television.
Gentlemen, is there anything illegal happening here?
No, nothing to see here. It's all very above board. All the soft drinks you'd care to indulge in.
Running an up-and-up operation here, so...
Do you have any Diet Pepsi mixed with Red Bull? This Diet Pepsi has clearly gone bad. As the brewer of the seltzer water, we have a very famous man here. His name is Ted.
Hello, what's up, viewers?
We have a question for you. If you were brewing one of these beers, when would your oysters be entered into the brew?
I have them in the last 10 minutes of the brew. There was actually a dozen oysters. 6 of them were just the oysters themselves. The other 6 were just shucked.
And how big of a batch was this?
It was a 5-gallon batch.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was really, I'm interested to see like what you think about it.
Yeah, it's a little dry, it's a little briny. It's good, it's balanced. It's a nice beer. Finish is really clean for something that's got that much flavor.
Tastes like oysters?
No. Very clearly we have a beer shortage, a beer and CO2 and tap line and keg shortage, and it's scary. Really, we're all afraid that we're all going to run out. My name's Ted. What's your name?
I'm Greta.
Greta, what's the garb for here?
Because we have violated the Volstead Act, and the FBI is really unhappy about it. True that. But we just want beer. We 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 want
I think they want beer, Chip.
I know. There's none here, though.
No, we're all out.
We're at the wrong conference.
No, go somewhere else.
Chop for chop. Brew for brew. Woo!
Here, this is Denny. He has something to say, something important to say.
Hi. It's great being here in Floston Paradise.
We got a triple with spices. That sounds pretty vague. We got a 5 Flanders Red. No, thank you. Please serve yourself. Looks good. French Kiss. Had one of those in college. It was wet. Number 3 Bourbon Barrel Barley Wine. I think I'll take one of those. And number Brett Pale. That's for Dawson. This number 6 is a coconut IPA. Those two things don't blend, but I'm going to try it. We have a coconut IPA being poured. It's going to be an interesting beer, I think. So here we have
Kyle Arnold from
the
Chaos Brew Club out of Chicago.
Right on. Tell us about this beer.
So it's a coconut IPA, traditional American IPA, Amarillo, Citra, Simcoe for hopping, fermented with US-05. And in secondary, I added 1.5 pounds of untoasted coconut.
Okay.
So just your Bob's Red Mill shredded coconut flakes. Added that to secondary for a week. And then during that time, I make my own extract by taking some of that coconut and soaking it in vodka. So I make my own tincture, filter out that coconut, then at kegging, because I find that just a regular coconut gives it really like a mellow coconut, not like that tropical, bright, kind of like suntan lotion vibe. So I add that extract then to the keg, a little bit at a time, purge it, shake it up, taste it, and kind of get it where I want it.
So is this your first event, something like this?
First time NHC. It's our club's first time up here. We've only been around for 3 or 4 years. We're actually pretty unique in that we have our own community space that we all brew at.
Cool.
So we all pay monthly dues to support a space, because in Chicago a lot of people don't have the space to do kind of the stuff we want to do, big barrel projects, etc.
Here we have the Ann Arbor Brewers Guild. What a great display. What a great bar. Let's go talk to some of these guys.
Do you like a nice bourbon barrel stout? We have a KBS clone. We have Ken Schramm's Blueberry Mead here.
What are you guys the most proud of today?
All of us being here together, having great beer and sharing with all the other homebrewers. It's a great week.
What do you mean 46 and 2?
There you go.
You got to play tools 46 and 2 every time you brew. I liked you guys on Brewing TV. You guys got a lot of good chemistry, especially you now with Chip. Everybody, Brian Adams, all of you guys.
Spotted a native in an unfamiliar world. Let's see what he has to say.
Another wonderful club night.
Yeah, this is a good club night.
It's your old buddy.
Club night.
It's your old buddy Chip.
I'm just waiting for a Hefeweizen, man. Why you gotta give me a hard time?
I'm not trying to. He is.
There's this microphone in my face.
Hey.
It's chopping.
Brew.
We're standing in the presence of fame really. Very bearded fame.
Hello.
We're good, man. This is my first experience at a festival like this.
Yeah?
And
You're natural. It looks like you were born with a stick mic in your hand.
I was born with something in my hand. If you had one thing to teach a new mother about giving birth, what would it be?
I'd say make sure your husband doesn't hit any potholes on the way to the delivery room. Bring some soothing CDs to listen to during labor.
Like Enya or Metallica?
No, I was thinking like Verlatok or High on Fire. Something to kind of help you just like ease into it. Water birth is cool. A lot of birthing centers have tubs.
Since beer is 95% water, do you think
that's what I was going to say before you interrupted me, Ted. I was going to say you could bring
what else?
You could bring some beer and you could put it in the tubs and you could do a beer birth.
I learned today about water chemistry. Would the chemistry of the mash have anything to do with how the child is born?
Yeah, it will. You want about 50 ppm calcium for optimal enzyme activity during childbirth. or the mash. I forget. It's one of the two, but just 50 ppm. That's your number. Well, you could hit it with some lacto or something, or some Brett. Yeah.
So you would go sour?
Well, that seems to be the trend these days, right?
Here we have the Ohio Valley Homebrewers Association.
So our club has been around for many, many years. Our slogan is making the Ohio River drinkable since 1997.
Was it not drinkable in 1996?
It has never been drinkable because it's very polluted because it's the Ohio River. It's not necessarily us from Indiana, it's those Pittsburgh bastards that dump all their stuff in the river and it comes downstream.
Here we have a Iowan turned New Jerseyan turned superhero. His name is Brian B. Brian B, what do you think about this? Is this your first NHA or NHC?
This is my first NHC.
What do you think? What if you had to describe it in 10 words, what would it be?
I don't think I know 10 words to describe it in now.
That was good.
Thanks.
What do you do about homebrewing? Why are you interested in it? Tell me a little bit about your whole process.
So, all right, basically you MSP guys got me into it. Dono, I still do the Dono method, mashing in the cooler. Follow him, follow his videos, follow Chop and Brew, follow the old BTV. You guys did it for me. Come on, I'll send you some beers.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
What kind of, is this a lager or is this an ale?
This is plain old water.
You know, beer is 95% water in most cases.
Well, this would be kind of boring beer.
Is this hopped or unhopped?
I'd say unhopped.
Okay. Well, hello, Mr. Excuse me, sir, deer hunting is in November. It's not the middle of November now.
I like brewing with saisons with cranberries, and another thing, Chop and Brew should do more episodes with that guy, with that other guy.
Mike Dawson?
Yeah, he's awesome.
One last question. The number of...
What up with them? What with them?
The number of attendees to beards. What would you say is the number of attendees to beards?
Attendees to beards. I mean, it's a pretty, I'd say 4 to 1. For every fourth attendee, they've got a beard. Except that guy.
That guy has a funny hat instead.
It's just one of those things. I wake up and I constantly think about Chop and Brew and spandex. And so then me and our homebrew club 616 homebrew, we're like, you know what? Let's all do this thing. And so now we're over there in booth 79. Check us out. It's real good stuff. Everyone's in 80s wrestling gear, so that's how we do.
Fantastic. If you had one thing to say to the future wrestlers of America, what would it be?
Dream big, never give up.
Whoa. This is Hulkamania. Whoa. Hulk Hogan.
There we go.
Brother.
Hulk.
What was that? Oh, yeah.
And what does National Homebrewers Club Night mean to you?
Woo!
Man, a few words, but he gets right to the point, really. So, Doug, you've seen Chop and Brew before. You know about it?
I subscribe to it. You betcha. Every month whenever episode gets popped up, I get an email. I watch it.
How did you find out about Chop and Brew?
Well, I used to watch Northern Brewer. Yep. Back when Chip was doing it, and I like that format because it's not just instructional stuff. Like in Northern Brewer, they always had the canoe cam. My favorite shot. But there's the Cobra right back there. Okay. Hey.
The youth of today, what would you give for a word of advice or two to inspire them?
Try different things. Follow the rules and try different things.
This guy's checking his voicemail. He's not happy. He's waiting for a big account. Oh, his secretary picked up. She's giving him bad news. Are you kidding me? What? They closed the account? Oh my God. This is terrible. This is terrible news. Oh, he rolled his eyes. Tell me about what we have going on here.
It's just a crime scene. That's all, man. It's just a crime scene. Everyday occurrence in the city,
That's me.
New York.
That's her.
You look surprisingly good. Let's talk to the dead body. Let's talk to the bed.
It was death by homebrew.
Death by homebrew. You look like you're...
I got better.
You look like you're feeling better.
I got better. I got better.
New York City Homebrew Club, right? The Guild. We got all 4 clubs from New York over here. If you die,
that's what brought it back.
That's what it is. If you die and you have some of our beer, you come back. It's almost like the loaves and fish.
It's magical. Is this more chop or is this more brew?
I think this is more chop, but a lot of brew.
Are you a butcher, sir?
I'm an amateur butcher.
You are?
Yes.
And where do you live?
Woodstock, Illinois.
And do you chop there?
Yeah, chop pigs.
Do you brew there?
And brew there.
What kind of pig do you like?
Mangalitas.
Bless you. Are you Gandalf?
Well, no, I'm Palmer the Purple. That they didn't send me the right robes.
That's a tragedy. So for a first-time NHC participant and second or third?
12th.
Okay, what would you tell somebody that's thinking about going but not sure yet?
You know, you're never going to meet more people, more like-minded people that want you to have fun, you know, outside of an Irish orgy.
And do you have any Irish orgy experience?
No, not really, but I'm speculating here.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm more familiar with hobbits.
So Ted has taken on the role of semi-professional photographer for homebrewers here at the NHC. How does it feel to have a new job as a photographer?
Good. Fantastic, really.
Hey, it's Chop and Brew. Hey guys, Chop and Brew.
Oh,
woo! Hey, Chop and Brew, everybody. Chop and Brew.
You gentlemen, do you think we could have a chop brew for brew dance?
No. Let's do a jig.
Oh, Juno. Hi, hello, Juno. How are you?
How's it going, Ted?
It's going good. How are you?
I'm doing fabulous. It's another club night, so.
And this is not your first NHC?
No, this is number 11, actually. I thought it was 10, but if you take 2004 and actually 2014, it's actually 11, not 10.
Wow. So what's going on here?
You know, looks like it's a regular club night. People are pouring out some fabulous stuff and a lot of creative stuff, we'll say. So.
Yeah, they really take it to the next level.
I'd say so. Really, it shows what homebrewers do best, which is basically that DIY ethic of basically doing whatever they think they can do. Are you having a good time, Ted?
It's terrible. I wish I was at home watching my kids. Hang on. I got
this. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year! Are you guys empty?
We both have to go. We need to find out about this club. This club is called Snob. Excuse me, sir.
6 years old.
Sir?
Pieces of it.
What a snob, man.
I was thinking the same thing. Why not put the shoes on?
Oh, am I going to be on TV?
Do you believe in double dipping?
It's okay. I can't believe I'm on TV.
What's your name?
Jean.
This is Gene from
Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
I've been to this town, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
What did you say?
Yeah. You seem very Midwestern. Sorry about that.
Yes, I am.
Were you born and raised in the Midwest?
No, actually in Texas.
What's the craziest thing you've ever done in your life?
Stood here and let you double dip in front of me.
Sad.
Okay.
Give me a whoop whoop.
Whoop whoop, I can't.
Yeah, that's good.
After birth, you're going to see the pH drop anyway. You know, it's going to go from like the 5 something down into the 4s for most
the high
children.
3s.
Yeah, for sour children, it'll get into the 3s.
And do you think that would have an effect on the overall psyche of the child after, the teenage years?
Yeah, probably they'll be a little more idiosyncratic, I think, a little less prone to make friends. They won't be crowd pleasers.
I'm cooking up a sour downstairs. That's disgusting. Burning the countryside, burning the people. What does Chop and Brew mean to you?
Chop and Brew is probably the webisode that's the deepest
connected to my heart. It's magical. It gives me purpose in life.
And you, sir?
I like Chip.
Here we have, it's David. Dave? Where are you from, Dave?
We're from Milwaukee.
And what's your club name?
Beer Barons in Milwaukee. We are all about the education of beer and making beer and enjoying beer.
That sounds like a great club.
It's an awesome club.
So we have a session IPA on a cask, which is kind of a unique beer. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, we got a little bit of a variety here. So we did a Russian stout that I aged since January in the cask. And then I made one session IPA that is only about 3 weeks old. So I fermented it in like 7 days, had it in the cask, and it's been about an additional 2 weeks in the cask, and we're ready to drink it. So
it's a light citrusy beer. We got a little Amarillo, a little Citra. What did you use?
It's dry hopped with Amarillo. So yeah. So you got there. You're good on your hops.
I like hops.
We started back in 1989 with some of the brewers that eventually started Live Oak and eventually working at Celis. And then we grew from a club of 4 people up to now we have about 750 people on our our email list. You know, we just like good beer, and we have our own homebrew contest every July and August. And we kind of made our own 11 categories. Basic categories like malty beers, hoppy beers, dark beers, things like that. And so we're a little bit of a rebellious group, and I guess that leans into the Viking horns.
Ask you where the hat. What's about that? Tell me about the hats.
We just wore them one year to the Dixie Cup down in Houston, and we decided we liked the horns, so we kept them.
And they just stuck.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
We don't have to yell out here.
Really?
Tell me a little bit about yourself and what you guys are doing.
We're the Sons of Liberty. We're from Plymouth, Michigan. We've been a club for 3 years now or 4 years?
4 years.
4 years now.
2010.
So this is our first time to the AHA conference.
Welcome.
So it's great. We're having a good time here.
We were just pouring in the club night, and now we're pouring in the social well soon.
Tell us a little bit about how you got started in homebrewing. I mean, this isn't a brand new thing for you, I assume.
I've been doing this for about 23 years. Many years ago, my grandfather was making his own beer at the very beginning when the homebrews were coming out. He got tired of making his own beer. Finally, he said, here, take my kit, and every year I want a sample of every beer you make. So I said, fine. So the first Christmas or two, I made up a case of beer with all the beer that I made for the year, and I made up special labels and everything for him. Made his name the master brewer on it, and the return date and everything else on it. He loved it, so it was a nice little gift that I could give back to my grandfather, that he got me into this lifelong joy of home brewing now. It's great.
What an important gift to look back on. I mean,
it's great. And now I've basically made my beer. I've passed it on now. My boys, the young men now, they're brewing beer with me now once in a while, so it's pretty cool.
Walking through Club Night, NHC 2014, we had stumbled upon a very nice-looking bunch of clearly not brewers, because they have suits and ties. And gentlemen, good evening. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Local club out of northern Illinois. A bunch of friends just got together, formed ourselves a little club. We've been expanding using mostly social media like Facebook. Don't do any real monthly meetings or anything like that. We try to stay a little bit looser. Let's just do a bunch of big brews, collaborations, help each other out. Anyone's problem for the day when brewing.
A little bit about your shirt. How do you find out about Chop and Brew?
How did I find out about Chop and Brew? Well, I watched another show that Chip had something to do with.
Me too.
And you as well.
I watched the show.
You watched the show? Well, yeah, you were. Never mind. What the hell am I talking about? So watch that, and then when Chip kind of carved off, talked to him, friended him on Facebook, and now I shuttle him computer equipment to make this happen as much as I can.
Damn.
Yeah.
So Josh and I did a 120-minute clone, 19.5% ABV, and then we aged it in a small 5-gallon whiskey barrel from a distillery out in Texas. The base whiskey was blue corn, aged about 10 months. It's real smooth, got a great little caramel color to it. It's showtime, I gotta do this.
Oh, it's a double secret stuff.
Nachos? We moved the nachos. Here it is.
What?
Since I was there, I get this, right?
Remember short pours.
Short pours, guys.
Lines of people that are ready to, they've obviously heard about this beer. We got a little sneak peek, and it's dangerous, and it's smooth, and it's amazingly good. You don't want to have a pint of this, I'll tell you that right now. This is the Brewing Network. They're a big deal. There's this guy we call Pull. That's who it is.
Push.
No, Pull.
It's a really bad time.
Shit, we pissed him off. We gotta go. He's gonna fight me. Chop for chop?
I'm sorry?
Chop for chop?
Chop for chop.
Yes. Good
Okay.
job. Brewing Network put on an awesome party at a ball field.
Party.
Yeah, I mean, it was unreal. I've never had an experience like that. A ball field open to brewers. How did that happen?
That was unbelievable. I don't know. I had nothing to do with it.
That really wasn't the answer we're looking for. NHC 2014. It's quite an event. Club night. People get crazy. There's a lot of very good brews. Man, I don't know. It's a lot to take in. I'll probably process it all tomorrow. What a crazy experience. We met a lot of great people. We had a lot of great experiences. We had a lot of awesome beer. If you haven't been, you gotta go. You gotta make it at least once. Next year it's gonna be in California, so get your ass out there. For Chop and Brew, I'm Ted. Chop for Chop, Brew for Brew.
And there you go. Club Night Montage. You've got to give it up to Ted, man. My boy Ted, we were buddies at that point, but we hadn't done a lot of like things one-on-one kind of like that. So it was so cool for him to just step up, grab that mic, be super on point, really fun. Watching him have fun was fun for me. So yeah, hopefully you had fun. So what I want to do real quick for the rest of this video is just kind of talk about National Homebrewers Conference, because like I said before, I feel like we're kind of at the end of an era. They've announced that HomebrewCon, which is what NHC evolved into, is now just being called Homebrew HQ at the GABF. It's just been further integrated into Brewers Association event. A lot of people talking good and bad about it. You can go find that on social. I'm not really here to talk about that. What I would like to talk about is my experience with NHC, and it's kind of a very different way than most people probably experience, I will say. So I started homebrewing in 2007 in Austin, Texas. Starter kit from Austin Homebrew. Would get Zymerges and would see the annual HomebrewCon article, or National Homebrewers Conference article, and it was just always so like mind-blowing to me that this thing that I was just kind of doing in my house making beer had this like giant gathering with people from all over the country, maybe the world, were getting together and talking about the hobby, sharing their beer, seeing the city that it was being held in. So I never went. It's just a lowly news producer in Austin, Texas, then a lowly news producer in Minneapolis, St. Paul. But in 2010, I found myself working at Northern Brewer. This guy who had been in news for quite a while, was a home brewer, found a way to put the two jobs together and became like the video content producer for Northern Brewer under Jake Keeler with Michael Dawson, creating Brewing TV, which of course meant we were going to be at NHC because Northern Brewer was going to be there as a vendor, as a retailer. We were now like the video arm of Northern Brewer. And as luck would have it, 2010, that jam was right in our backyard, man, at the Sheraton in Bloomington, Minnesota. So I recently rewatched the 2010 episode. It's 2 parts on YouTube because you used to not be able to upload more than 15 minutes at a time. What? Bonkers. Man, that video took me back. Boy, my creative muscle was in full effect. So, you know, this is my first conference, but I'm also like in it. I'm not just like a homebrewer showing up with a couple other homebrewers and like, what are we going to do? Like there was an itinerary. We had lined up interviews with Charlie Papazian, Justin Crosley, John Palmer, just all these luminaries I've been like reading and hearing. All of a sudden I was kind of on their level a little bit as a producer of content, but still didn't feel like worthy of being in their presence. First time meeting Tasty, RIP Tasty, would see Tasty like every conference from there on, plus the time that we were lucky enough to go out and do a Brewing TV on the Brewing Network. So it was like documenting this thing that I had kind of been doing just one-on-one, or maybe with my club, just on a macro scale. I was looking at that video. There's a very young Don Osborne who I had become friends with after moving up here. The Club Night montage was just the money. So many good lines in that. So many good characters in that. Dawson running after the pedal pub with the stick mic has got to be one of my favorite all-time moments of Brewing TV, of Mike just like doing that man on the street interview while running full steam after a bunch of drunks on a pedal pub. Jameel. It was just cool. It was just cool. Me and my boy Trey did the Club Night song in the hotel room that became the soundtrack. It's just, we were really homebrewing it. Like, that was homebrew. Like Brewing TV, the way it was scrapped together, but then that freaking video looks so good. So anyway, so my first experience, and I should point out that the Brewing Network anniversary party for that year took place in a part of Northern Brewers' then warehouse that hadn't been filled yet. We had taken over this part, but it was completely blank. So we had this like empty blank slate. Brewing Network managed to bring up a bunch of beers from California and other states that we can't get here. Beer trailers. It was wild. It was like a cross between like karaoke, beer tasting. It was just bonkers. So that whole weekend was just unreal to me as a newcomer, newish comer to the hobby, and definitely brand new to working in the industry. Second year, 2011, also a Brewing TV video that I will link below. Epic. I will say once again, the Club Night montage is the highlight of it. But my boy Trey, who joined us in 2010 from Mobile, Alabama, also came to San Diego. So it was awesome to have him there. We did the brewery tour the day before the conference. So we hit Hess Brewing, AleSmith, Pizza Port, OB. The BNA that year was at the White Labs facility that hadn't been opened yet. There was a lot of parties going on at buildings like that weren't yet commissioned for what they're about to be. It was my first NHC on the road, so that was cool. And at that point, Brewing TV was like a year plus old and had kind of like really jumped in popularity. So we had people coming up to us, which was an odd thing. Like, we were somewhat known. Jake and the Cobra, love it, hate it. We heard both sides of that, but then he also had the Baltic Python going on. So like, it was just so fun. It was very much, as we always used to say about Brewing TV, it was that how, not the how, but the why. Like, why do you brew? These are the fun people. These are their personalities, the other things that they are besides a home brewer. That year, Brewing TV kind of sponsored this Tiki Pavilion, which was rad. Late night especially is where the party ended up. The hospitality suite in the main area was Northern Brewer, so we had cask ales that Dawson and some folks at Northern Brewer had brewed and brought. Like, we just brought the party when we came to these things. It was so fun. So definitely go check that out. It was Jameel's first year being a pro brewer at Heretic, so he's in the video kind of talking a little bit about that. 2012, Seattle, or Bellevue, I think it was officially called, but basically Seattle, Pacific Northwest. This is where the Chip Squatch, this is where they start capitalizing on my name and likeness, man. Jake and Garth had this idea to have the Chip Squatch, where if you got a picture of me out doing my thing with the video camera in the wilds of the conference, you'd come back to the booth, show the picture on your phone, get a shirt. So that was funny. Like, just had all these people like bum rushing me constantly, trying to get pictures and high fives. I still have that poster hanging up in my brew room to this very day. As you see, Chip Squatch, often found with video camera in hand and barley wine in a glass. That is still very true to this day. So that was a great time. Last NHC as a official member of the industry, I would say. 1.0 at least. Because in late 2012, I left Northern Brewer, took a job at Summit, as I've mentioned. So I didn't go in 2013, but I did go to Music City Brew Off down in Nashville. They were nice enough to bring me down to document that. You've probably seen that video. If you haven't seen that video, maybe you've seen the one with John Kimmich from The Alchemist, Hetty Topper. One of the most popular and most viewed Chop and Brew videos. He just does like an hour-long talk about all things brewing, but specifically Heady Topper at a time when it was just like, redefining the beer game. So go check that out. 2014, I was at Summit Brewing. I was their social, shout out, Summit Brewing Company. Whoop, whoop. I was their social media, digital marketing, video nerd. And I kind of talked them into letting me go to Grand Rapids when we were still distributed in that area and do a couple events. I did an event at Hopcat, went and rode around to a bunch of other cool accounts with our then sales dude, Jim Parks. Had a great time. That was like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday maybe, or Tuesday, Wednesday. Met a bunch of you folks, awesome homebrewers. Came out to those as well to kind of just jumpstart the party. Had been doing Chop and Brew for just a couple of years. Many of my cohorts from the Brewing TV days were in new and better places throughout the industry. It was like a really cool time to gather back at something like National Homebrewers Conference and see people who are now pro brewers or on the vendor side, suppliers, malts, hops. Just, it was cool. It was a really cool family reunion-y kind of vibe. Plus, it was in the upper Midwest, which I live here in Minnesota, but over in Michigan. So it was kind of like being away from home, but seeing a lot of faces from home that you haven't seen. And I feel like that vibe kind of comes across in the club night. I didn't shoot a lot of video at this conference for some reason. I'm not sure why. I wasn't on the governing committee yet, which always meant I couldn't really do a lot of video because I was basically working. And I wasn't with Northern Brewer, so I also wasn't working. I do know from looking back at my own feed that I did post 2 seminars from that year. Michael Tonsmeyer, The Influence of Mashing on Sour Beer Production. You should go check that out if sour beers are at all your jam and you haven't seen it, or go get a refresher. And then Nathan Smith did Brewing with New Hop Varieties, which obviously it's 10 years old now. It's probably not the newest hop varieties. It'd actually be interesting to go back and watch that and see like if any of those even exist still, or if they're now like the most common hop. But I remember he also just had some ideas about like what kind of beer, what kind of grist, what kind of brewing recipe template you should put hops through when you're testing new varieties. It wasn't just about what varieties were new. Anyway, I'll link those 2 things in the video description below as well. 2015, 16, and 17, I'm now officially a member of the governing committee for the AHA, so I'm obligated to go. We also basically work. They put out a spreadsheet of all of the seminars. You pick which ones you would like to host, meaning you're kind of in charge of the room. You're going to introduce the speaker. You obviously want to pick ones you're interested in sitting in on because you're going to sit there. So that was always a fun opportunity to just, whether it was people I knew like Drew and Denny and just wanted to be there and be part of that, or they were people I didn't know but would like to meet briefly at the beginning. I always had fun with those rooms too, because the room's always quiet. I would like plug the auxiliary jack into my phone and pull up some chill jazz instrumental or something, just like get people talking, get people a little loose. I felt like I had a nice vibe when I hosted those rooms. So anyway, 15 in San Diego, 16 in Baltimore, 17 back here in Minneapolis. The 2017 we did the pre-funk party that we collaborated on with Marshall and the folks at Brewlosophy. That was like a huge success at Insight Brewing Company here in town. There's a funny video on YouTube of me and Brian Adams like having a snoring contest that Don O shot from the floor of the hotel room in the dark where he was sleeping on like a camping pad. 2017 also I was in a unique position to help coordinate a couple of seminars. So one was a live Q&A, which we have on Chop and Brew with Charlie Papazian, along with me and Tom Daldorf from Celebrator Beer News, kind of, I wouldn't say good cop, bad cop, good cop, good cop. Interviewed Charlie Papazian. There was also a really good opportunity to bring some of my homebrewer friends and networks that I had met over the years together in a seminar that I called Home Brewing Worldwide, and it had my buddy Brian Condren from Ireland, Gaston Rivera, who literally took minibuses and then flew from Chile to Minnesota, was here for about 30 hours, and then went back to do the same trip in reverse. Like, spent more time traveling than he spent here, but it meant the world to me that he came here. Miguel Loza from Mexico / South Cali, Lai Zhai from Taiwan / China, and Peter Simons from Australia. So that is also a video that I'll link below. There's so many videos I'm going to link below because over the many years, I've used the conference as a way to gather content, to celebrate the hobby in the community by doing things like the club night. But yeah, I really got big into like just taping some seminars and kind of cross-promoting them, cross-presenting them with the HA, because I was like, this is really the cool part for me, is to find a few sessions that I just think speak to me, will speak to other people. So I would say these conferences were awesome. I haven't been to one since 17. I mean, they haven't had them every year for obvious pandemic reasons, and now what appears to be kind of just like budgetary reasons. You could still argue might be COVID, might be just the decline of craft beer. It's a very sad thing to have it go away, but as I said on one of the only Facebook posts I kind of went into the fray and said anything about this, was just, A, we should be lucky enough to have ever had one. I don't think that every hobby has a national conference and convention where people get together in this way and share what they do. I mean, a lot of hobbies, you're just like, you don't just bring your end product in and be able to pour it, you know. That's interesting. But B, I just don't think, if it's not a profitable venture, it's not going to happen. I mean, that's what we live in. No one's going to do this because it's fun and warms hearts, right? So that's the unfortunate thing. Hopefully things will kind of flip around a little bit, and this will be something that comes back together, both between the budget it takes to put something like this on and the attendance, which had apparently reportedly been down. So I would like to just kind of think about what it meant to me as a homebrewer into the industry, kind of just like cannonballed into this reality of being in there with the likes of Brewing Network and Basic Brewing and the many generations of creators who kind of came up from that. I don't know how to end this. I just wanted to kind of like wrap, because I really had a lot of big smiles and laughs thinking about a lot of this stuff, and I want to share that with you. If you made it to the end of this, let me know what your favorite conference experiences and memories are. What's the solution to having it? Should we have like a bunch of like regional ones that local committees kind of lift up, like the Pacific Northwest one that I documented a few years back? I don't know, but just want to say thank all of you for your support. Thanks for every high five, shout out, beer you've shared. Shout out to Ted for completely running that club night in 2014. Till the next time we unearth an SD card with footage we thought we lost. Chop for chop. Brew for brew. What was the date on that mofo? It's fresh. Chop and brew sour mash technique. A presentation by the one and only Michael Tonsmeyer. Some of you may know Michael best by his home. I'm having to look up my own web show to remember how to say Michael Tonsmeyer. I remember having a hard time with this. Michael Tonsmeyer, Michael Tonsmeyer, Michael Tonsmia. Michael is a homebrewer with a lot of experience. This is why we put everything on the internet, people.